You are not spiritual if you eat meat or drink alcohol, says those with spiritual egos. In New Age spirituality, we're seeing a wave of individuals that are jumping straight into these high vibrational habits like meditation, veganism, channeling messages from entities in other dimensions.
This is a channel message from the Sirius Council of Light.
Dressing and presenting themselves as highly spiritual and telling others that if they don't do certain things, then they won't reach enlightenment. But are these people truly enlightened, or are they using spirituality as a way to mask their ego? Hey, my name is Ira Morphy. Welcome to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm a metaphysics student, and today's episode we're actually going to cover the rising phenomenon of spiritual egos. I remember when I first had my spiritual awakening, I was 17. And I went through this period called the bliss period, which is actually a part in the spiritual awakening that happens to everybody, right? Like where you wake up, you feel so connected, like your heart chakra is open and you're starting to feel so connected to everything. And you're feeling like this connection to God that you have just never felt before. Like you start seeing synchronicities everywhere. And then you start to cut off like the bad habits, right? Like you stop eating meat, you become vegan, right? You start dressing more like with your crystals and you start getting more crystals and all these things, like very external, if that makes sense. In this period, I thought I had it all figured out, that I was so high vibrational, but that wasn't really the case, because if I really looked at what was going on in my subconscious mind, I was pretty resentful. I had cut off all the people in my life that weren't spiritual or weren't aligned with the path. I was judging left and right? Like if my friends ate meat, I would tell them, you're low vibrational for eating meat, you're killing the planet, all these things. Like I was just really projecting all these different things externally, calling people sheeps, telling people that feeling in a way superior to others. What I had really done that I did not want to admit to myself was that I had built a whole new personality, a spiritual identity that was rooted in a superiority complex. I would always tell myself that I was born different from other people, that I wasn't from here, right? That I must have been like from an alien race or something like that. Like I did get into the whole alien stuff, and to be honest, that disconnected me from the collective way more than anything else. And this whole identity that I had built was so rooted in the inability to deal with my material and very real experience that I was having. The human experience. I was trying to run away from it. I was trying to escape from it because, of course, you know, everybody goes through their trauma. I was raised in a very violent household and things that I didn't want to deal with yet because I was 17. You know, everything was pretty recent. It was all there still in the background. I just didn't want to deal with it. So spirituality became my escapism, and I feel like this is happening to a lot of people right now. And this is what I actually call the spiritual ego. So what is the spiritual ego? So I see many people in the spiritual community talking about dissolving the ego, that they're in the process of killing their ego death, all this stuff. But the thing is, and the reality is that you cannot dissolve the ego, because the ego, my friend, is the literal illusion of separation. It's what's giving you an identity. If you didn't have an ego, you wouldn't be able to tell apart me from you from the computer you're watching this on, you from the reality around you. Everything would be one. So if you want to exist in this material realm, my friend, you need an ego, okay? You need an ego. You cannot exist here without an identity. And it is not bad. A lot of people tell me that the ego is bad, you need to kill. It's not bad, it's there for a reason. I mean, you have your entire human experience, all, you know, with your conscious, your subconscious, your ego, etc., for a reason, okay? You come here with free will, with the ability, with the forgetfulness, right, of forgetting everything, and with your ego for a reason. And the thing is that your ego is here to help you have an individual expression, right? The individual journey that you have, which is super important, because yes, we are all, you know, one, we're all connected, etc., but you are also an individual at the same time, and that's the beauty of duality, which we're gonna cover later in this video. But that's what I see quite a lot. So yes, your ego does change when you have a spiritual awakening. It starts to mold itself to like your new identity, but it's still an identity, it's still an ego. So let's go back into the illusion of separation, right? Because I said that the ego is the illusion of separation, but from what? Well, oneness. God. My belief, based off my experiences and the things that I study as well, is that everything is one and God is oneness, right? Like everything is one. You, me, your reality, the things around you, the physical things around you, the good, the bad, everything in the culmination of it is God, and it's oneness and it's love. And I don't just mean love as in like, oh, I love you, etc. I mean like that life that breathes through everything. That is love, right? So in short, God is love. So many ancient civilizations and also ancient traditions that we still see today all base themselves off this law of oneness, right? So the principle of mentalism and Hermeticism, which of course I studied Hermeticism quite a lot, Hermeticism, on there it states that we are inside the mind of God and it is all one. The all is mind, right? The mind of God. The thing is that in the grand scheme of things, everything is one. But as long as we are here in this experience, we're almost, it is an illusion of separation, but it's meant to be there for a reason. So yes, we're all one, but at the same time, we are also individuals. The law of correspondence, as within, so without, everything is but half truths. So let's put this more into perspective, right? Newton came out with the 7-color spectrum through a prism, right? Shining lights through a prism that then reflected into the 7-color spectrum. God, when it manifests itself into the physical form, works the same exact way. So let's think of this prism, the light coming into the prism, right? You have light, this godly energy, oneness, love, etc. It goes into the prism and it refracts into the illusion of separation, basically creating all the different vibrations that there are that we can see and that we can also hear, feel, experience, etc. That love that goes in essentially refracts into fear and love, right? All these different vibrations. So this means that fear and love in the grand scheme of things are the same exact thing. It's just a different end to the same exact nature, right? So this is why I always say that there's only 2 vibrations in this entire physical experience, fear and love. But essentially, fear is the same thing as love in the grand scheme of things, which means that fear is the effect of the illusion of separation. So the more separated you feel from God, from oneness, the more fear that you're going to feel, which actually creates all the other low vibrational emotions in the lower vibrational scale, right? The bottom half is the result of fear and the upper half is the result of love. But where am I going with this? Well, when you judge somebody, what are you doing? You are condemning that individual expression of God. So it literally, you are operating from that place of separation. You can never judge somebody and, judge them negatively, of course, because obviously there is positive and negative judgments. You can never judge them without first condemning God, aka condemning yourself. When you're judging people for partying, for eating meat, for doing whatever they want to do with their lives, whatever it is, you are forgetting that you are condemning God. Because at the end of the day, those things that they are doing and that individual process that they are going to is all in divine planning, is all under the divine. Just because they're low vibrational doesn't mean that they're not spiritual. Everybody's going through their own progress. Everything is divine because the material is the spiritual as well. And that's the thing with this new age spirituality wave that I've seen, that they are very much condemning the material world. A lot of them, they go into this spiritual very deeply and they stay there and they don't really want to come out and focus as well on building something for themselves in the material world. And this is a wave as well that I see quite a lot. I saw it with myself because I was super spiritual, whatever, but I was also extremely broke. I had like $500 in my bank account and that's it, and I had no job and I was making nothing. So it's this thing of going towards an extreme and forgetting that this experience is built upon duality and that at the end of the day everything is one. And that's the beautiful thing about this experience, is that it is so light and so dark. It's not all about love and light and being high vibrational. It's not. We're here for other purposes as well. There's this story I love so much about God and the devil walking together when suddenly they see this man who has just found the truth. So God tells the devil, hey, why did you put the truth in his path? Isn't that worse for you? And the devil said, no, it's actually great for me, because soon he will turn it into a religion and then he will lose it. That's what the spiritual ego does. It turns spirituality into a dogma, into a religion with rules, into an identity to perform rather than a truth to embody, further separating us than uniting us. And listen to me, because I know I'm talking about not judging, oneness, etc. But listen, my friend, I judge. I try my hardest not to. I try my hardest to see the good in people. I try my hardest to see the divine in everything, but I still judge. And it's a journey for sure. But we all judge. Even positive judgments, by the way, are still judgments. This is why monks go and isolate themselves from civilization, to not judge, to stop giving meanings. Because as long as you're giving a meaning to the things around you, this is good, this is bad, you are giving a judgment, you are giving a perception, right? Because in reality, nothing really means anything until you give it a perception. But you are always giving a perception. I know very well that I don't want to be a monk. I know very well that as long as I'm here alive, I will be giving a meaning to the things that I experience. But it's really important to realize that everybody has their own experiences, and you cannot judge somebody's path and put yourself above them because of the different lifestyle choices that you make. You know, like how people have their spiritual awakening and then they call others sheeps, NPCs, or whatever. I actually find that super egotistical. I used to do it myself. You know what I mean? When I first woke up, I would call everybody sheeps who wasn't like on the same path that I was on. And I think it's actually kind of normal, because I've seen it with everybody who has had a spiritual awakening. They go through like the spiritual ego phase. Either way, I am right now judging the people who have spiritual egos. So do you see how this is like something it's really hard to run away from? But as long as you're making an effort, that's what matters. You know what I mean? But I think it's a really important thing to just set your ego aside as much as you can and realize that the worst thing that you can possibly do that will further separate you from collectivity is judgment. But at the same time, it's very hard to not judge. It's unrealistic, actually, unless you actually go towards a monastic way of life. But this takes me to part number 3, which is the duality is divine. In my honest opinion, I feel like spirituality truly honors duality, right? It realizes that everything, the good, the bad, it all comes from the lens of a human rather than a lens of God. But everything that is happening in the world, it is all an expression of God. The alcohol, the low vibrational music, the meat, all these different things that usually we label as like low vibrational are also expressions of God. And personally, in my experience, I like to honor all sides of God within my life. Of course, everything with a balance. In my opinion, I feel like we didn't come here to only be high vibrational and to only be all love and light. We came here to integrate all aspects of us humans, or to at least forgive. And in my opinion, forgiveness is not like, oh, I forgive you. It's more of, I see the God inside of you as well, right? Seeing the God in everything, I feel like that's really what we came here for. But, well, personally, what I came here for, because I cannot tell you what you came here for. But I feel my experience is not transcendence of the material. I want to enjoy the material. I love the material, but I also love the spiritual. And I feel that beautiful balance between both is what I believe would be the best thing for me. I mean, it could be different for you, but I feel integration rather than transcendence is the goal here. Coming to learn how to manipulate the illusion of reality, because you can't transcend it, but you can definitely learn to look at it and manipulate it to your favor. Because even outside of like the external physical, like low vibrational things or habits, we all have a dark side inside of us. So even if you don't do all these external things, you still have a dark side inside of you. Everybody does, okay? Because humans, my friend, we come from a very, very, very dark background, okay? Like we have thousands of years of slavery, homicide, genocide. We have a very dark past is what I'm trying to say, and that is actually inside of all of us, inside your DNA, and it's not something that you can escape from. We all have a dark side. We all have traumas and generational trauma that has been passed down to us, and at the end of the day, the dark side is not something that you can ignore. Okay, I actually have a whole video about like the dark side of humans and the dark side inside of you right here, which if you want to watch, it's an awesome video. But either way, I stopped asking myself, is this high vibrational, and started asking myself, is this honest? Because authenticity is the highest form of love that there is. The highest vibration that there actually is authenticity. And authenticity means holding yourself and holding space for the light and the darkness. That is truly how you see authenticity, because you can't only accept the good parts of God, the light, the love, right? Because that's conditional love. You need to accept the darkness as well, which is there, and it's not gonna go away. When you integrate, when you hold space for all of it, that's truly when you start to become high vibrational. You start to embody authenticity in your life. And that's what I actually feel spirituality is about, authenticity. Reaching the highest vibration through holding love, space for all aspects of you. And when you hold that space for yourself, you can be more forgiving of others. Right? You can start to see that the bad things that people do, or what you label as bad, the bad habits, all these things, they're just part of the divine plan as well. And when you have that forgiveness for yourself, you start to embody it in others. This is why I have personally found very easy for me to see people who have done very bad things to others or bad things in their life and still see the God inside of them, because that's what forgiveness actually is. So if I could describe a real spiritual awakening, I would describe it as humble. It really does soften up your perception towards the world around you, starting to see more of like the divine that is going through everything. But at the same time, obviously there's no compassion towards others if there's no first compassion towards yourself. I'm not saying like to get people to step all over you. I'm saying to, yes, have discernment, but at the same time not hold resentment. It almost gets you to see the pain inside other people and what molded them to be the way that they are, and to just accept the things or life the way that it is. Because that's when you start to see that everything truly is divine. And because that's when you start to actually really tune into that authentic frequency, the oneness, the that everything is divine, even the messy, raw, ugly parts of humanity and the world. And you're not here in this journey to be above other people. This is why I don't believe in the idea of the chosen ones. I don't believe anybody's chosen. Actually, if somebody is chosen, that means we are all chosen, because we are all right now playing a equal part in the story of the universe. And that's the beautiful thing, because I feel when you call yourself, I'm a chosen one, I'm a chosen one, when you put yourself in that pedestal, right? That truly is the spiritual ego. And that's the thing, you're not here to convince anybody of your truth. You're not here to be a messiah and to wake the world up. You're just here to embody your most authentic self and to be that match that lights up and basically lights up all the other matches around you. And the match that you light up is also gonna light other matches around them. And it's almost like this domino effect that just happens once you really do embody spirituality. But you can't really do that if you keep judging others and you keep trying to convince others that your truth is the absolute truth. Because the moment that you actually think that you know it all, you don't have the truth. I don't have the truth. I'm just talking, what I think is the truth. But right now, nobody really has the truth, not even like the most enlightened people that you can possibly think about. They don't. Nobody has it. Nobody really knows what the hell is going on, why we're here, nothing. Okay? Because the moment that you think that you have the truth, you are furthest from it. So that's the thing with the spiritual ego. I feel like everybody at some degree has a spiritual ego, even the people who are very spiritually advanced or whatever. Even saying like spiritual community, things like that already disconnects you from like the people outside the spiritual community who are also in the spiritual journey, even when they don't realize it, right? At the end of the day, realize that the best thing that you can possibly do for yourself is just to be authentic, to hold your space in light and darkness, and to realize that once you hold your space in that way, you also need to hold the world in that way. So that's my point of view in this topic. Honestly, when I first started kind of like getting into the mindset that I am right now, I really did have to push my ego aside in order to realize that I'm no better than others. And it hurts, I know, because the ego likes to be different. Even in your pain, right? You tell yourself my shadow is bigger than other people, etc. But at the end of the day, yes, you're special, yes, you're unique, but so is everybody else in their own way, and that's okay. That doesn't take away from you, okay? So yes, it humbles you, but at the same time it integrates you, and that's the beautiful part of it. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, make sure to like it so it can reach more people. And if you're all about the metaphysics and basically thriving in this experience, then make sure to subscribe because I'm your girl. I'm Ira Morphy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.